Good morning, everyone. You haven't heard from me for a while because I've been reading your papers. It's great. They're great. It takes a long time. But I'm trying to get them all back to you within a week. Working very hard. However, I thought I'd take a little moment and say a couple of things about sources and how we use sources and little rules for sources. Nobody cares about sources. Why are we talking about sources? Well, that was rude. So you use sources so that you're in conversation with other texts as you make your argument. You get to use other people's research. You get to put your argument and frame it with what other people have said. Nobody cares about sources! Oh my goodness, I'm sorry about that. Oh. What? This is what happens when a source comes into your paper and you don't introduce it or give it a context. The reader is sitting in your voice, listening to what you're saying, and suddenly, this is something that I think, and you don't know who I am. So, some of you in your papers, I've written down dropped quotation. Dropped quotation means that instead of introducing someone and like bringing them into your paper, they just butt right in like this very creepy horse puppet. Now this horse puppet would be creepy no matter what, but I can bring the horse puppet into the conversation by saying, I've heard that some of you have questions about sources, and my friend Mr. Horse Puppet actually has some similar questions about sources. Mr. Horse Puppet, what would you have to say about sources? You were saying something that you weren't sure when to use italics or quotation marks. Italics and quotation marks are very confusing to me. Okay. Well, so tell me, what's the problem? I know that some titles take quotation marks and some take italics. Okay, so Mr. Horse Puppet, you're doing a great job recognizing the two ways that we designate something as a source in MLA style. Let me break it down for you. So, Mr. Horse Puppet, are you familiar with this? Yes, it's the best movie of all time, 9 to 5, Dolly Parton, Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Flawless. That's right, the best movie of all time, Lily Tomlin, Dolly Parton, Jane Fonda, Flawless. This is a big thing, not just because it's excellent, but because it's a whole movie. And because it's a whole movie, you put it in italics. Big things always go in italics. This makes sense to me. Yes, it does make sense. So, what about quotation marks? What kind of titles get quotation marks? I'm waiting for you to tell me. Okay, I'll get there. So, this is Veronica Mars, an excellent television program. Have you seen Veronica Mars? Fine, it's fine. You don't have to enjoy the same things that I enjoy. So Veronica Mars, if you are talking about the entire series Veronica Mars, that would go in italics because that's the big thing. And if you are talking about just an episode of Veronica Mars, then you would put that in quotation marks. Does that help you, Mr. Horse Puppet? Okay. And this is true of any medium. So Veronica Mars is the name of the series, italics. Each episode, quotation marks. Similarly, this is the book, italics. There are lots of teeny tiny little articles within the book about each cult, secret society, or conspiracy theory. We're not really getting into that. That's covered by this book. So the little title, quotation marks, big title, italics. Does that make you feel a little bit better? You feel like you understand what's going on? So please introduce sources and only use sources that are kind and not hostile. Please in doing MLA, when you don't know how to treat the title, italics, or quotation marks, you just is it a little part of a bigger thing than quotation marks? Is it a big thing?